I call it absorption because it's not interstellar exploration. A lot of it is already explored. At least the things that we'll initially be exposed to is already documented, known for a long time. It's already been scientifically utilized, applied to, etc. So we're going to be absorbed initially into different confederations, or rather alliances, of civilizations that are of fourth density or higher in most cases. And we will be taught a lot. There will be a new type of education. There will be a very exciting type of school, which is the school of life itself, the school of creation itself, the school of our galaxy itself. And so we will start to be taught in these matters, in these facts, and the truth of our history, which is far more weird than you might think presently, than you read in the history books in the slave system that we call school, mandatory school as it is now. Don't put your kids in school, even if it's illegal. Just don't do it. Unless they really want to, obviously. And for many, it is a very relevant experience, and it is very helpful, and it is very exciting. But there's a lot of kids that don't want this, and they'll literally make themselves sick to not go to school, okay? They literally postpone their lives because they have to go to school. It's a slave system, okay? There is a law that is highest, which is free will. There's no government that could ever take this away. There's no entity, there's no legalities that could ever take this away. Free will is paramount. Now, I'm not saying not to be smart about it, okay? But one of the exciting things we're going to realize is that this civilization and the way it's structured and the governmental structure is going to completely be turned inside out, okay? There's going to be a coup. There's going to be a revolution where we, the beings, gain so much more freedom and information and knowledge and awareness and possibilities and exciting options to follow, exciting breadcrumb trails that we weren't ever even aware of, where we really start to feel like we are our own governance. We are the law. I mean, it sounds dangerous, but it's been made to sound dangerous for a reason, because they don't want you to realize it. But you have to understand that you are the law. Ooh. Now, yes, realize this from a very profound place of love and wisdom, because it can be abused. But realize, open your eyes, okay? Open your eyes. This is a man-made world that you've been taught and conditioned to perceive. Almost any single concept, any random thought you have at any given day is is given to you, okay? And they want it that way. That's part of the play, okay? And you want it that way because you like to be a baby. You like to be spoon-fed. You like to be taken care of. You like to make sure you're all right 40 years from now. You know, you are afraid. I'm speaking to people in general. You are scared little toddlers that had never fully grown up past the first chakra response, okay? Fear of survival, ensuring survival. And because we're so afraid, because we are immature in that way, we are highly, highly manipulative. Highly manipulative. We're so manipulative that we won't realize we're manipulated, okay? This is, again, why this information is relevant. You need to wake up to the structures that exist around you with love and excitement in your heart. None of this is pointing fingers. If anything, I'm pointing fingers at you and myself for allowing, tolerating that level of laziness and being taken care of. Why do people want to be taken care of so much? I don't get it. You're powerful. You're free. You're the only one that creates your reality, that chooses which parallel reality you experience. Everything you experience is your own subjective consciousness energy projected into the sphere of beingness that you are, of eternity. Why would you generate the illusion within your sphere of governance, within your creation, that there is another entity that exists independent from your own experience, that somehow needs to take care of you, and when they don't, you complain, and you vote for the other candidate? While both candidates are usually, not always, put in place for you. It's a show, okay? Apparently Donald Trump isn't. So it's kind of exciting. He's just a maniac. He's a free spirit. Okay, Hillary is fucked up, okay? Fucked up. I love her. Bless your heart, Hillary. Jesus Christ, what you have to deal with. But look into the eyes and see the 99.9% secrecy that is there, okay? So if you think you're choosing for that particular party, you're not. Okay, you're not choosing for anything but control, right? Either way, you're fucked. That's why this is the best election that has ever happened, in my opinion, because there is no good option whatsoever, not even remotely, okay? So don't vote. Don't vote. Don't vote. Fuck the system, okay? Let it take care of itself. Let it collapse. Stop participating in the hypnotism. Stop feeding the system. Start making it understand that it's losing control even more rapidly. Because that's what's happening, and this is a perfect reflection. This candidacy race, rat race, is the perfect resemblance of where we are at as a people. We are ready for change. We are ready for self-governance. We are ready to recreate our civilization from the people, by the people, for the people. We are ready for a government that is nothing more but a body of administration that truly represents the people and is represented by the people, not by certain groups. That's what we're ready for. That's what we are going to create over the next 20 years, gradually, but this year will be an epic year of change, transformation, and shock and awe. Okay, so this is a very exciting year. Next year is also going to be very exciting, don't worry. The year after that is going to be even more exciting, but comparatively to how previously, it's almost like you have to believe this shit before you see it, okay? This is the year where you start to see the shit that the new agers of you have already been suspecting. So some of it is going to be validated. So it's going to be nice. Just take that as a compliment and move on. But some of your suspicions are going to be proven correct, and it's going to open Pandora's box, okay? It's going to open a can of worms for the powers that be. It's not going to be able to be sustained or maintained. They will try to maintain the majority of the secrecy, and they realize they have to come out with some information because there is no other way. People are going to find out anyway. So they're going to try for partial disclosure, gradual partial disclosure, so that they're not executed and imprisoned and whatever. And that's why I think it's very important to openly come out. When these topics start to really come into the public eye, I think it's crucial that we, as the willing slaves of our history, fully pardon the perpetrators. Because it's going to be very tempting for those that feel victimized and enslaved, ultimately by their own choice, to then want to feel really powerful and strong and oppressive and return the favor, so to speak. This is, if it might seem to some of you like the powers that be have started to ruin this planet, we can definitely finish the job if that's the way we go about it. Okay, we can destroy ourselves if that's the way we go about it. So it's just as important for us to shift from the position of willing slave to willing co-creator, harmoniously, lovingly, and forgivingly, understanding that both parties play their role in ascension, in evolution, as it is for them to realize that they're losing control and to give this planet back to its people. It's crucial. I don't see any other way that is more beneficial or successful than to fully pardon those that have been lying and hiding and maintaining power and wealth and whatever for personal reasons. And even enslaving, abusing, torturing, whatever. There's no other way. Okay, this is a maturity check for us. Like, oh, you want to evolve into being a creator? Let's see how you deal with this disclosure. Let's see if you really are able to be shepherds of this earth. Let's see if you can forgive those that you allowed to enslave you. But if you retaliate, if you react too much, I mean, it's natural to have releases of paradigms and energies and confusions to fall into place so that clarity can ensue. But it's another thing to react and to want to return the favor. So part of this disclosure movement that is happening, that is accelerating, and which I hope to be a crucial part, if necessary, from an empowering angle, not from a fear-monger's angle, from an empowering angle, an exciting angle. One thing that I will emphasize, unless somehow my perspective changes because of certain things that I learn are more in balance, but as I see it now, I will emphasize publicly to fully pardon those that kept everything secret. So I'll probably be accused of being part of the same group. Everyone that comes out in this way is always doubted to where they come from, which is good. It's good kind of skepticism, but that's my view. Is the only way it's going to work out harmoniously. Okay. Now, to some of you, this might be, what's he talking about? How is this relevant? You'll find out. Seed planted, that's all I wanted. I wanted the seed to be planted. I wanted you to have a basic awareness of it, and I want you to approach it with love, light, joy, and excitement, okay? For everyone, for all parties involved. I want us to learn to love, and this is another crucial aspect of this whole cosmic thing, of the whole alien thing. I want us to understand, grasp more, how the polarities of service to self and service to others, how they dance with each other, and how that dance is not only crucial for evolution, but it's enjoyable. Why do you go to the movies? Has there ever been a movie where there's no challenge or opposition that you enjoyed? Where you just saw a guy sitting in a park, just like like a biopic of Eckhart Tolle. Everything that gives us a boost of like, that was exhilarating. I now know more of who I am and what I desire and what this is all about. Comes from opposition, comes from challenge. It comes from a play, a dance of polarities. This is embedded in the universe. You find it throughout the densities, okay? At least up to 6th density. Then it takes on a different form. Then everything is combined. The game of polarity ends and everything turns towards the foreverness, the infinite of the Creator, back into merger, so to speak. But anything up to 6th density, mid-6th density, even late 6th density, there is the game of polarities embedded in the structure, the blueprint of our universe. So this whole story that, sorry Stephen Greer, that some people have of beyond this density, there are no service to self entities, it's simply not true. There are service to self entities beyond this density. It's not like we reach heaven at the end of this 3rd density cycle and everyone is kumbaya for the remaining 4 densities and nothing happens. So this might come to a little bit of a paradigm changer for some people. They might think that once we reach the age of enlightenment, it's all cookies and fluff and rainbows. And in a sense it is. Why? Because we will be so powerful in what we choose to experience that we can choose whatever we want to experience. That does not mean that we're not aware of other options out there that we might not choose, but that some of us might choose to interact with from time to time, or sometimes more in a more engaged way, to expand, to learn, to exchange information. But you have to visualize it in a way, visualize the negative entities, the service to self-oriented groups of this planet, okay? Now visualize a community like this, which proclaims to be all about the light and service to others, which we are. That's our role to play. That's what we do. That's what's required at this time. Imagine them abusing each other, battling each other out, and in between lives, being absolutely in love with each other. Because that's what it's like, okay? That's what's happening. We're playing roles. It's a chess game. It would be no fun if the chess game consists of one party. It wouldn't teach you anything. So we are part of a chessboard, and planet Earth in particular is a chessboard with many, 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 many different players, many, many, many different teams, which makes it very rich for learning, very rich for empowering yourself, not disempowering yourself. So that's really what I want to bring out there. I want to expose this as freely and as widely as we can, that this is the journey of empowerment, and that this is the time of great empowerment, collective empowerment, and that this has to come with love and acceptance and forgiveness. Otherwise, it's not empowering. So, again, eye of the hurricane, I trust you all to hold that vibration, to hold that balance, so that when the time comes, you can be of support vibrationally to this earth. Okay? Because there will be a time of confusion, naturally. Imagine those that are really, really unconscious about who they are. They're just going through the slave system of the 9 to 5, and their kids are in school still. Imagine them receiving this information. They will not compute, okay? Imagine, no offense, your average redneck. Let's just use a demographic so everyone has an image of it. They're just like going through the motions, coming home at 6 p.m. and the wife has made chicken and mashed potatoes and they watch the news and they watch their favorite action show and they go to bed and there's no awareness during that day, okay? No conscious awareness. Now awareness is always there. There's all levels of consciousness are always active. But the conscious mind it's not downloading into its synapses. It's not wiring itself for awakening, for disclosure, for the truth. It is living in a very small world, and yes, the majority of people still live this way, okay? And it's okay. That's just the way it is. But imagine what happens to a brain like that, to a life like that, when they hear that our government has been in contact with ETs for the past 80 years, that we have bases on the moon, a bunch of slave colonies on Mars, that we have been mining the asteroid belt, that we've been colonizing areas of our galaxy outside our solar system, that we haven't needed fossil fuels since that time, 80 years, that we have anti-gravitic mechanisms, that the whole system, the whole money-based system is a slave system put in place deliberately, consciously by some really smart service-to-self people. Imagine those that carry the American flag with them everywhere they go, realizing that it's been one big fucking fraud and that the Nazis won the war after all. You'll learn about this. It shifted from the visible to the secret, but the Nazis won the war, okay? The United States government gave up their control, their governance, so that we would not be exposed to free energy devices. That's it. So that we would not take back our money, our governance, and operate freely. So that we would no longer be controlled. You see, if free energy gets released, and we're working on it, if free energy gets released, it changes everything, okay? Everything. Awareness, disclosure, navigation, movement, policies, air regulations, things you can't even imagine, the power shift that will occur. And we've had free energy for 80 years. Longer in some cases. For 80 fucking years, okay? People in Africa still live the way they do. People in poor countries still live the way they do. We still live the way they do, which is actually worse, the way we live, in some ways. We have been fracking, meaning fracturing, breaking down our earth, polluting it, putting poison in it, extracting all of its blood. It's bleeding everywhere for the past 80 years at an exponential rate, going from 1.5 billion people to 7 billion people in, I think, a matter of 100 years or so. Everyone driving 1 or 2 cars. I'm part of that too. I'm driving my car too. I have my V8 Mustang. Absolutely. So I'm not clean as a whistle by any means. I eat meat. I have my vegetarian periods, but I eat meat, which is also having an effect on the earth. So by no way am I clean, but what I'm focusing my attention on is making the really big changes. And we have to realize that this has been kept secret from us. We have to at least acknowledge that, not go like, oh, that's negative, let's not go there. No, let's acknowledge for a second the secrecy and the control and the enslavement and the delusion that has been cast over us as a people. Realize and feel the suffering of billions, unnecessarily so, not in the greater scheme of things, but relatively speaking, unnecessarily so. Being kept stupid. We're being deliberately kept very, very stupid. Okay, the amount of intelligence, information, awakeness, and harmony that we could have achieved in the past 80 years, that we have literally been missing out on, is insane. We would have a different civilization if that would have come out at that time. And it's would have, should have, could have. There's parallel realities where it did. So we chose this one for our own journey because it's exciting. So I'm not blaming anything, but just realize this for a minute. Realize the gravity that comes with disclosure. So I understand that it has to happen somewhat gradually. Now I don't agree with a partial 100-year term disclosure, which is what some of these alliances are trying to orchestrate, which is impossible, by the way. They can't do that. Even if they think they have the systems in place for a partial, gradual 100-year disclosure, it's impossible because of the energy acceleration that's happening. Will be completely transparent far beyond 100 years, far before 100 years from now. Okay, more like 20. So I agree with a partial disclosure, with more a balanced disclosure, a gradual disclosure, but rather rapid, and preparing people, educating people in the right way. Again, imagine the redneck mind carrying the American flag, being a patriot, being, nationalistic, believing in his country, America. And then hearing that America hasn't existed since the 40s. Nazi Germany did. That has nothing to do with Germany, by the way. It's just a particular society that has been very clever in service to self, and that has had the right resources and the right connections to other beings that allowed them to have leverage over the United States. Again, you'll find out more of this, and more of this information is in the Cosmic Disclosure series that is hosted by Gaia.com. So check it out if you're interested. It is far out there. It will take you a little while to assimilate all this information into a package that makes sense to you. Some of you might not believe any of it. That's okay too. The United States has not existed for a while, okay? As the founding fathers said, that has not been the case for quite some time for most of you guys since before your birth. You've never lived in the United States of America. You've lived in something else. Nazi Germany, the Third Reich, but behind the scenes. Sorry guys to drop all this on you. Now you're prepared. You can assimilate it, you can deal with it, whatever, right? Believe it, don't believe it, doesn't really matter. It'll all become clear naturally, and the facts will be disclosed soon enough. One more thing to touch upon. Personally, I really feel that one of the first things to come out, is the 9/11 being an inside job. It's really is one of those pillars that they place in their history that will destroy their control, their regime. So, like I said on Facebook, they really fucked up with that one. It's really the stupidest idea you can ever think of. Demolition. The two biggest towers in the world, pretty much, all the eyes are on it, and let's hope nobody sees that it was not a plane that brought it down. So, this I don't know why they were so stupid. Like, it's unlike their cleverness, but it must have been meant to be. It must have been necessary from their eyes. It is definitely necessary in our eyes because it will shake people up significantly. And this is an event they can relate to. Now, if you're talking about aliens, the people that are not that aware, they will they will not be able to compute. They will not be able to make that connection to their personal lives if we have been engaged with ET civilizations. It's going to be too far out to initially accept, but as part of this disclosure movement, which is organically orchestrated by the increase in energy, what will happen, most likely in my opinion, is that the 9/11 event will be the most significant change in our collective's understanding of corruption and secrecy, and it will be the hallmark, it will be the marking point of a real shift where the majority of our collective will start to understand and open up to other facts. Because everything leads back to the Nazis. Everything leads back to ET contact. Literally everything leads back to ET contact in the 20s and the 30s, and the technological exchanges and the control systems that really amped up their game at that time. So even something as impactful and as seemingly mundane and terrorist organized, there is no real terrorism, by the way, in my opinion. It's all orchestrated. Don't believe the hype. It's another thing to keep your mind on the lollipop. Lollipop, lollipop. Let's be afraid of terrorism. Yes, let's pass these laws against terrorism. Let's all go through security like 8 times per flight so that the terrorists won't do this. Let's all be controlled. Let's all get our fingerprints. Let's all get a chip in our brain soon, right? So even this is the initial disclosure event, I think, in my opinion. It might be something else. It might be, hey, we actually did find life on Mars in some version. Like that's also, life, ET life is also going to be disclosed, I feel, most likely this year, if not this year, next year. So, but it will be in a very preliminary form, most likely. But this 9/11 event, every human being can relate to that event. And when they realize that our own governments did that, and that terrorism has been created, an illusion, to pass certain laws and regulations and to gain more control and more power, there's a lot of people that won't accept it, even when they hear it. They will refuse the truth, even though they know it's fucking true. They will refuse it. There's a large percentage of people that will do that for quite some time. It's too much of a worldview, okay? This is like literally shattering your foundation, your home, what you feel kept you safe and took care of you. Your mommy and your daddy fucking abused you. It's all out there. Like none of this disclosure stuff is new. Okay, this has been around for years and decades. None of what I'm sharing with you is new. Some of the gory good stuff has never been revealed before. That's why it's exciting, and it's even more far out there than some of the Dr. Stephen Greer stuff that you hear. But if you want a more introductory thing, again, I've already shared this before, but look up How the Secret Government Works on YouTube by Dr. Stephen Greer. Okay, it's an excellent expose. It's an excellent lecture, 3 hour long. It's intense, but it keeps it human somewhat. It talks about ETs, but it shows you proven evidence and documents, etc. So it's a very believable transition. After that, if you're ready for more, go look up Cosmic Disclosure on Gaia.com. If not, if you have had your fair share, just wait a year or so, maybe. Yes, so again, this event, like the towers crumbled, the control structures will crumble, okay? When it's revealed, it's very symbolic. The pinnacle of the U.S. government, one of their main sort of icons, the World Trade Center, United States World Trade Center, crumbled by its own doing. When that gets revealed to the public, everything else will crumble too, okay? It's already revealed, like she said, very good point, but a lot of people are not of the vibration to attract this, but it will become accepted, it will become shown, it will become proven, it will be revealed, it will be exposed, inevitably at some point. If not this year, if not next year, then the year after. But shortly, fairly shortly, this will be acknowledged as an inside job. And that's when the investigations start. And that's when people will find out why they did that, and why they did that to get to there, and why they did that to get to there, and why they did that to there. And then we end up with the Nazis and the UFOs, okay?